we're back.
We're back.
Once again.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great.
What are you listening to? What is I don't know, the mood for the summer?
I have some very specific answers.
Okay.
I found this group called Sophie Tucker. SOFI.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tucker spelled weird too. Anyways, it's a man and a woman. And it's technically, I guess you'd call it electronic.
Oh,
Techno,
okay.
House,
okay.
something. Oh, but it's so good. Like, she was a classical singer. And it's fun. Like, it's like 15 songs that I love. So, Sophie Tucker. So you're on a boat. You're doing a backyard party, some mixed crowd, whatever. Throw it on.
Throw it on. Okay.
We won't
Test
disappoint.
it out.
You know, the other thing I'm really into is my Spotify told me this too of how much I listen to this. It's like British trap music.
Really?
Like Central C.
Okay.
And Dave.
I am familiar. So oddly enough, I saw a documentary on drill music, which I wasn't even aware of that term, even though I'm a rap fan. And they, like, towards the end, it started in Chicago, blah, blah, blah. They do like a worldwide view and talk about British rappers, and I believe Central C came up. That's how I'm familiar.
I love Central C. And
Really?
this guy Dave and him have done like some, maybe even a whole album together too. They're very similar
Styles.
with different voices. And then my last suggestion for folks going into warm weather would be reggae.
Really?
Just throw reggae in your Pandora or your Spotify. Let it choose. There's very few songs where I'm like, skip. And I said this before, if somebody's being a jerk while reggae's playing,
They're just
delete,
a terrible person.
cancel them. It's so hard to be anything but like pleasant and optimistic when reggae music is playing. It feels like sunshine on the inside.
Oh, I like that.
So there's another barbecue suggestion.
A little reggae Spotify mix. Okay. Okay. I am a R&B rap kind of girl. My actually I like everything though. Drake recently dropped like 3 albums and I have not listened to them.
On that.
Dropped 3 all on like
3 at once.
3 at once.
Is that a good business decision?
No one asked me.
Is he about to be indicted?
No.
I'm just saying, why would you drop 3 at once?
I saw a little bit online about how this fulfills his contract obligations with his record
Somebody
company.
had a minimum or whatever.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. I don't know. But it's interesting because like one is a house, like techno album.
Okay.
One is a rap album. And then I don't know what the third one is. I read the reviews from people on Twitter or whatever, X, whatever we call it nowadays. None of them were good.
If you're dropping 3 at once, these are rush jobs. AI probably wrote half of it.
Probably.
You know, like these are not your lifetime achievement.
Yeah, some of the hot takes was he definitely didn't have his usual ghostwriters, so on and so forth. Chris Brown recently dropped the album. I haven't listened to any of these. I am kind of just stuck in my group. Wale dropped an album. Are you familiar with him? He's a rapper out of DC. He's been around for, I don't know, probably 12, 14 years or so. So mid-30s. You probably have heard his music. He dropped the album maybe 2 months ago. I am stuck on that album.
I need a link. Send me a link. I'm not going to remember this name.
Absolutely. I think the album is named Everything Is a Lot. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have probably seen him in concert. I've probably seen Jay-Z the most. And there's an R&B singer also out of DC named Raheem Devon. I've seen him probably second to Jay-Z, and then Wale is probably third on that list.
We're going to have to go to a concert together, but you might go to more concerts than anyone I know. The fact that
it's kind of sick.
I mean, what's the estimate for Jay-Z? Like how many times?
Including the times I've seen him with Beyonce, at least 7.
Dang.
Yeah. And mind you, he hasn't toured in a decade.
It's not like he's down at the Lansing Lugnuts Stadium. Trying to get.
But, I mean, I guess him and Beyonce had 2 tours in the last decade.
I saw him and Beyonce in Miami.
Okay.
for
Okay.
Lauren Burton's like Bachelorette or something like
Yeah.
that. And that was great.
So
But
will you travel for a concert?
I did go to Sweden for Taylor Swift, which is weird because I'm like I like Taylor Swift. I don't love Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift. It was more just I got recruited and the vibe was right. The people were right, and I hadn't been to Sweden. I would.
Okay.
I'd go somewhere to see Sophie Tucker.
Okay.
Let's look into that.
Okay, we can talk about it. I definitely I have a British artist that I'm listening to. His name is Elmine, and he's on his first tour. So I saw him about a month ago. You're right. In the last month, I've been to like 5 concerts in the last month. I saw Bruno Mars when he was in Detroit. I saw Mary J. Blige and Babyface in Vegas. It's been a time. So
Your life sounds good.
I can't complain at all.
Sounds good.
My hobbies are gardening and concerts, it feels like. But it is definitely on my bucket list to see Beyonce maybe in Paris. Maybe.
I'll see anything in Paris.
Yeah.
I would see a country car.
Curtis. I'm a Chris Stapleton fan. I'm a big Chris Stapleton fan.
I just, honestly, the 90s country that still is locked in a part of my brain. I mean, I multiple times a day I walk into a room and don't know why I'm there, but I know every word to, hey, little lady, why don't you give me a sign? I'll do anything to make it mine. I mean, I can't forget a word of, I probably got 200 songs locked in there that are there for eternity.
Eternity, yeah.
And I can't remember, why I'm
what you wore
in
yesterday.
A room. Exactly.
Yeah, it's similar.
I'm ready to let go of it. But.
I think it's a millennial to I think an earlier conversation we've had on a different episode, the elder millennial urge to know all the songs, right?
Yeah. And we were at lunch earlier, and I'm like, I hate this song, but I know every word of it. It's like, I think it's because the radio, we did not have options. There was not you had your CD cases, but you had to have money to have a lot of CDs.
And the same songs. When they were hot, they played every hour. I can remember when Confessions came out. You could not turn on the radio without hearing a song from the Confessions.
And think about me being in the UP.
I know, so you
we
really
had a radio station that there was like one country, one non-country.
Those were the options.
The Christian one. That was it.
Yeah.
And so I listened to a lot of Train and Closing Time stuff. I hate all that music, but I know
I still love
that's what I got. That's what I got locked. You got any summer plans?
Let's see. Kind of. I got work trips. In this new role, we don't go on the same cadence of it's not that new, but in this current job, I don't go on the same cadence of the legislature. So it's like there's no summer break. There's no,
it's more like a normal person.
It's more like a normal 9 to 5 that's not 9 to 5 because I do a lot of reading and, I'm still used to sending emails at 6 a.m. or at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So sorry to my staff. But so summer, I got some work travel. I promised a friend that I'd make it up to Muskegon to hang out at the beach. So I'll probably do that at some point in July. In August, I'm going to Traverse City for a bachelorette weekend. So
you're gonna be wearing a hat.
A little wine tour.
Getting a wine tour with the girl, the hats, the hats and the flowing
dresses,
something.
Pedal pub, all the things, all the
right
things.
Out of rom-com.
All the things, but pure Michigan summer, right? What about you? What do you got planned?
Less planned than I ever have, which I'm really leaning into this, like not knowing the answers to things, not knowing what I'm going to do. It's a very empowering time in my life because I think I had a lot of kids. I was always I had everything programmed in, and that's then you have a lot of expectations. But I am going to LA in late June for another film premiere situation. This is now like a thing that I do, and
I feel like you're on the road to being a movie star.
I don't think if I can play dead girl number 1. Decapitated Girl 3 or something.
Little episode of NCIS or something. I don't know what's on.
Yeah,
nowadays,
hot take of like my torso that's been separated from the rest of me. So that's what I think I could pull out.
That could be the future.
I was an extra in a movie back in the day, by the way. 50 Cent, Bruce Willis, and Ryan Felipe in Grand Rapids. They had me driving. I'm like, I'm a terrible driver. I had to drive on a scene right before they crashed some stuff, and I was walking down. Never once watched the movie, by the way, to see myself.
Really?
But anyways, I've majorly digressed. That's another. We could dig into that.
I was gonna say.
But the only summer vacation thing I have planned is, I think we've talked about this, but as a kid, my family only ever went on one vacation. Every year the same one. Gull Lake Bible Conference.
Gull Lake
Bible Conference. Yeah.
Where's that?
So that's like between Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, a little north. Gull Lake is, have you heard of Gull Lake?
Never.
Okay. Gull Lake's amazing. It's actually like a hidden gem and very bougie and very expensive. But it's a huge, like all sports lakes. I think it's 200 and some feet deep at its deepest. It's an amazing lake. But I only ever went there for a week where 9 to 11 a.m. is church. Mm-hmm. You have some lunch, family style, with cousins, aunts, uncles. You get about 4 hours of rec time. Sitting on the dock, playing a little tennis, whatever. And then you're back to chapel. Back to chapel at 6:37 p.m. So that was all. I didn't realize people had unstructured vacation.
They do. They do indeed.
But the long and the short of it is I now take my kids there. Mm-hmm. As a real vacation.
Okay, not to the Bible conference.
No. Okay. No. So we rented a house in August. I've got a niece getting married in the area. Oh. I've got family, but my Case family's all from that Battle Creek, Kalamazoo area. And so we're going to go there and do unstructured activities.
I love it.
We'll be able to wear toothpiece bathing suits.
Okay.
We can bring alcohol.
You can, and you're not back in the church house at 6 p.m.
I'm not, and God bless them, but it's not really denominationally something in the lines with
where you are,
right my value system at this point. But I have great memories, and our evenings will be totally free.
Oh, I love it. I probably forgot to mention, for people who know me, they know that I take my mom back to Mississippi every summer. Oh. She's from a tiny town, and they have for like 20 years done what I call a town reunion. Like there's a parade.
A town reunion?
Yeah. Everyone, like there's only one high school. The high schools have their reunion that weekend.
Is it like a homecoming? Like in my town is called Summerfest.
Yes.
Or something.
Yes. It is. It is kind of like that. Last year it didn't happen, but we still went back because now the reunion day is Saturday, and that Sunday we have a cookout at my grandfather's house. Well, it's my mother's house now, but the house that my mom grew up in. And so she's been doing this for as long as they've been doing the town reunion. So it's kind of a staple.
Yeah. And, I can't say I've ever been to. You said Mississippi.
Mississippi. It's north of Jackson, south of Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. So somewhere in between that.
How far from Louisiana?
About.
Am I map right?
You are, but because it's northern Mississippi,
right.
It's about 6 hours to New Orleans. You get to Louisiana before that, but it's so far north in Mississippi, you got to drive all the way down to the Gulf and then go over.
Okay.
There is a bridge that takes you from Mississippi to Louisiana. This is too much information, but it is the longest, overwater bridge, I think, in the country. It's 20-something miles.
What?
Yes. And what you don't know about
it. Is it swampy?
It is so swampy.
I was gonna say, it's like
I am afraid to drive over water.
Oh, girl. What are you?
I know.
And you drive this thing?
I drove us to, my mom had never been to New Orleans. And about 10 years ago, we took one of my sisters, and I've been a couple of times, but she had never been. And so we were like, let's just go while we're in Mississippi. So we go, and everybody's asleep, and I'm the driver, and I am freaking out because this bridge just keeps going.
Now, is it high?
It's not that high.
At least you got that. right?
It's true. It's not like the Mighty Mac.
So
which
it's
is
not
also,
the height over water that freaks you out. It's
just the water. It's the water. And it's not, it's never like it's 6 lanes or whatever. It's maybe 4. I don't remember.
Yeah. We got to wake your family up next time. You shouldn't have to do that by yourself.
I called one of my best friends and I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's asleep. I'm driving over this water. I'm freaking out. But there's, what am I going to do? I'm not going to pull over. I'm already there.
Yeah. And once you're on it, baby, you're on it.
Right.
You got to keep going.
They're not like the Mac where you can get somebody to drive you across, although I've never done that. I just swallow the fear and drive across.
And that's largely about the height and the wind at that height.
And
right?
it's the graded, I guess for our listeners, if you've never been across the Mackinac Bridge, it takes you from the Lower Peninsula to the
make
upper.
it lighter, the middle lane is.
It's graded, so you can see the water as you're driving.
Like
and it's noisy. It's like...
I worked
so many fears.
I grew up in a little town above the bridge, and I worked in Mackinac City. So in 16 every day over the bridge and back every day.
Gosh.
Every day, 5 days
like
a week.
Nightmare.
So then I have no fear. I'm always passing people, whipping around, just get me there. I'm probably late for work.
No,
but I get how I feel like if you put me on the Golden Gate Bridge, I'd be like, I would be scared.
I've driven across that too.
It feels different.
It is different, and even the Ambassador Bridge. I am a person that I will take the tunnel. Yeah. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, I can't take the tunnel. What if the tunnel collapses? I'm like, well,
I know I'm up on a bridge the other way. Do we have to discuss those?
It is a very sound structure. Yeah. I am more comfortable. But again, I grew up in Detroit when you didn't need a passport to go to Canada. So, in the early 2000s, we'd go to Canada and get our hair braided. There was, it was half the price. The American dollar was worth 2. Was 2 Canadian dollars, so you can get your hair braided for super cheap. So what do we have up for today?
Yeah.
Who's coming to see us?
Someone that is such a surprisingly fun person. Now that might sound rude or something, but this person is so... I don't get intimidated by people. Mm-hmm. Very rarely. He kind of intimidated me because he's very serious. You think he's very serious. Okay. And he's like the consummate professional. Just like he doesn't make mistakes, I don't think. He's kind of like, sometimes I'm like, is there a battery? We've got to plug you in after this. But he's actually secretly so fun and so interesting. So we've got Brian Peters here. All right.
I'm excited.
The CEO of the Health and Hospital Association of Michigan. Big deal. I think there's like 100 employees. And he's on the board of the National Hospital Association in an important governance role there. So he's kind of the man, at the highest levels of healthcare policy in this country. Just a delightful person. So do we want to grab him?
Yeah, I'm super excited for this chat.
Charlie, go ahead and grab Brian Peters. She's amazing. But when we were talking about you before you got here on camera, you're this person. I said that I don't get intimidated by a lot of people. It's just, I don't know. It's the Youper, Teflon, whatever. I just don't, I'm not bothered enough to do that. But you were always a little intimidating to me.
Really?
And one of the reasons I like you so much is that the narrative flips completely on its head when someone really gets to know you. So Brian, always buttoned up. Always going to be 5 minutes early. Never going to impulsively try to make a joke and have it be really offensive, something I would do. Careful, thoughtful, in control. And some might think not fun because of that. He's fun. He's fun. He watches reality TV.
Absolutely.
Ooh. Every minute he's not in an office, you're on a boat.
100%.
He's got, I've just picked your brain for all your little off-roading of interests and fun things about him. So,
okay. Well, if we're going to go to reality TV, what is your all-time favorite reality TV show? It doesn't have to be one that's still on.
Well, there's no question in my mind that Jersey Shore was not only the best reality TV show of all time, but it should be included in the pantheon of great TV programs of all time. Breaking Bad, The Sopranos.
You're going to put it next to The Sopranos.
Jersey
these
Shore.
are commonly considered as some of the greatest TV productions of all time, rightfully so. But I don't
Rightfully
believe that
so.
Jersey Shore gets adequate credit.
Now I have to ask because I got to pull on this thread more. It's just because it's people find out that you love reality TV and they're shook. But did your wife originally get you in to this stuff? Like because your repertoire is actually pretty wide. I know it goes deep on Jersey Shore, but
Absolutely.
was she a fan who sucked you in, or
Well,
you made your way there yourself?
I'm IBM, as some people know, which stands for Italian by marriage. My wife
yes.
is 100% Italian.
Is she 100%?
And of course was intrigued right out of the gates when Jersey Shore came onto the scene. And so we did begin watching that together. But it is a cultural masterpiece in my mind.
You said it so perfectly. I was telling Shaquila that you and Brandy Johnson, who is the president of the Michigan Community College Association, but also like an education advocate, long-term household name in that space in Michigan. The three of us have a text thread, where we only communicate about this topic. And Shaquila asked me, what's the connection there? What's the only through line is reality TV.
Correct.
And actually, I want to read a direct quote from you earlier, but there was something I had flagged. You can't send everything, but probably once every 2 weeks we get some kind of traffic that's meaningful. And I send something over, and I'm like, is this right? Is this happening? And Brandy gives a theory of, I don't know, I'm not sure I believe this, a lot of words. You come through with your one sentence. I never bet against TMZ.
That's right. And interestingly enough, TMZ, as you may be aware, just opened a branch office in Washington, D.C., just within the last several weeks. And the point in all of that is, as someone that spends a lot of time in D.C., you really do need to be on your game now more than ever before, because you never know what's going to transpire and what's going to be recorded.
A lot of interns with cell phones.
Exactly right. So TMZ has made their presence known in the nation's capital. It's a target-rich environment at this point in time, and I don't imagine that's going to change anytime soon. But back to your original point, there's no question. Vanderpump Rules, another outstanding production. I would tell you, I would be starstruck if DJ James Kennedy walked into the room right now, just as I'd be starstruck if The Situation walked in, or any number of other stars from those.
So
productions.
I have met some of the Vanderpump cast.
I know you have.
And actually, Jenna, she plays. I hope she watches this. She plays this kind of a more minor role, and I think she might be on every season. But she's now kind of more known to be Lala's trainer. Mm-hmm. Like she was at Lala's pick your baby daddy sperm party or whatever. Right. She's not. Then she joined the Valley. Mm-hmm. So she was on the Valley. That experience seems a little different. These people are too old to be. Some of this is let it go. Let's move on. But I met Schwartz several times. Right. He's so great. He was so great. Actually, on my 40th birthday, he allegedly mixed a tequila with some kind of pineapple infusion process that was for my birthday. I think someone just invited him out, and it happened to be my birthday. But he's lovely. Jax, didn't want to say much. Mm-hmm. Kind of how you would expect.
Yeah, I feel like you have met more celebrities in that domain than I have.
Certainly. I am not well versed on reality TV. I've heard of these shows. I watched a couple of episodes of Jersey Shore. I go way back to OG shows, Rock of Love, perhaps. Sure. Maybe a couple.
What about Flavor Flav?
A little bit of Flavor of Love, not much. I watched way more Rock of Love. Don't ask why. A little bit of Real Housewives, Salt Lake City. Yeah.
I heard Atlanta. That's a good one.
Yeah, Salt Lake City was good. I watched the first season, and this is so random. There's a documentary. One of the personalities on Salt Lake City is a pastor who married her step-grandfather.
Okay.
It's Sounds weird. Still is weird. I mean, well, he was 20 years younger than her grandmother. He is 20 years older than her. But anyway, so there's a documentary though. Documentary, I use that loosely, about how essentially her church is a cult.
Oh.
And so I just recently watched that.
Yeah, put that link in the chat, please.
I will have to. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm not well versed on the Vanderpump, although some of the other Bravo reality shows. But I do feel like you know quite a few people in this realm.
I've done some weird things. Yeah. And one of them was I attended a wellness retreat in Bali where I knew 0 people. But Jenna from Vanderpump Rules was the person running it. So I had a couple rough years, but 2023, I was about done in. Like my mental health, my physical health, was it 23 or 20? I think it was 23, earlier in the year. I literally was at one point downtown in a friend's office, like calling like psych hospitals, like, how can I get a bed? Like, and they were like, are you going to hurt yourself? No. Are you going to hurt anyone else? No. By the way, you have to say yes if you want to go.
Yes, you do.
And I'm like, no. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, don't come here. And there's nothing for you. Okay. So I stumble upon an Instagram because I followed Jenna. I thought she was so cute, like just this funky little trainer. And she would put some workouts and stuff online. I followed her on Instagram. And then it showed up Balanced in Bali. Her and the yoga instructor were doing a wellness retreat in Bali. Had to look up Bali. I mean, I generally knew where it was, but it's literally the farthest place on the planet to go, except for maybe Perth, Australia. It's like 23 hours to get to Bali. Mm-hmm. And long story short, I signed up. And I was like, I can't go to that other place with the hospital beds. I should try this. Mm-hmm. And I met Jenna. I met some other great people like Kamiko Glenn from Orange is the New Black, who voices like My Little Pony and stuff. I met the producer from Storage Wars there. Like, it was a real eclectic group. Mm. And so the takeaway is, yeah, I have like a little experience with that crowd, but nothing. They're just people, especially reality stars. They're usually like just people that are struggling and broke.
Sure. I mean, a logical question could be, why do you watch reality TV? And on the one hand, it's true that in stressful jobs like we have, a little bit of release and moving out of that serious environment and having a laugh or two is good. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I would tell you that we're in relationship businesses. Mm-hmm. And watching those human relationships unfold over time, watching what works and what doesn't work, it's a character study that I think has some relevance.
Leave it to Brian Peters. He'd be strategic about his reality show.
That's fascinating. I've never thought about it like that. Wait, I got a random story though about a reality show about how I almost ended up on a reality show.
Ooh.
MTV used to do those True Life, whatever, where they would follow. And I was running a campaign for someone one summer many years ago, and they reached out. It was a campaign in Detroit. And they wanted to do I'm helping rebuild. It was after the bankruptcy. Oh, I'm helping rebuild Detroit or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so they reached out to the candidate and me separately, like, hey, we'd really like to feature you all. And his wife and I both were like, absolutely not. We both said no.
Man, that could have been your moment. You're coming out.
And it was funny because we both asked him, well, what did, I asked him, what'd your wife say? She asked him, what'd Shaquilla say? And when we both said no, I was like, yeah, that's what we're doing. If we're in agreement, it's a no. And I have no regrets about not ending up on a reality show.
I wouldn't want to do it. We could talk, and I believe there'd be an audience for it. We could talk hours on this. But let's just talk a little bit about who you are. This is we've been so clear that people need levity. People want human relationships, to your point, more than ever right now. We're not talking about people's resumes, but you have a big job. You're kind of a big figure in Lansing and in Michigan, in a leadership role running the Health and Hospital Association. But you're also maybe one of the only people I've ever known that has worked for the same employer, I think, your entire career. I mean, especially millennials and Gen Z. We're 5 years? Come on, what am I ready? You're ready to retire, So
right.
tell us a little bit about, growing up in Ann Arbor and then how you ended up just climbing that ladder and being who you are.
So I appreciate the question. I've been at the Michigan Health and Hospital Association now for 36 years. Started
So you
there
were
as
10.
an intern.
Oh,
Well, it's an interesting backstory. It's not traditional at all. And yes, since graduating from college, I've stayed with that one employer my entire career, but had a lot of different jobs before that. Perhaps the most significant one, to me anyways, was the opportunity to run a sport fishing charter service operating in Charlevoix, Michigan, on the northern coast between Traverse City and Mackinac.
it's a bit different.
It was a bit different. I did it for 5 seasons. I was a first mate on a charter boat for a couple
Okay.
of seasons before becoming a captain, getting my Coast Guard captain.
And are these day
license.
trips out and back?
These are day trips, sometimes overnight.
Okay.
90% of the trips were fishing trips. The other 10% were, dive trips
Okay.
to shipwrecks, of which there are a lot in
Yeah.
the northern lakes. And, sunset cruises, picnic, trips, whatever the customer wanted. But it was an amazing opportunity to learn how to engage with people that you've never met in your life. And now all of a sudden you're on a boat with them for hours on end. And, the captain that I worked for when I was a first mate taught me something incredibly profound that resonates with me to this day. On the first day out, before the customers arrived in the morning, he said, I want you to be very clear about what our mission is today. And I'm thinking, well, our mission's to go catch fish, fill the cooler. Our mission's to make sure everyone has a good time or get them back safely to the marina. Well, yes, we want to do all those things, but our mission is to make friends today. Because if you do everything possible to make friends on this boat for the next 6 to 12 hours, they'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come back. And he was right about that.
By
And
the
I
fundamentals.
saw it when I was a captain running my own business as well. Because sometimes, you know what? The fish don't cooperate. You come home empty-handed. Sometimes the weather is bad.
But if
whatever
they had a
the
great
case may
time,
be.
If they had a great time.
If you genuinely have made the effort and treated them the right way, then they'll be back. And I think in business, I don't care what business you're in, that has power.
I was going to ask you how much of that has carried you through this career, because I feel like our early jobs almost like lay a foundation, or we get a piece of advice. I once had a senator say, it's not about what you do, it's about how you make people feel.
That's right.
And so I feel like that was similar advice. Do you feel like to this, I mean, you remember it, so to this day, you still carry those thoughts?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
And, when I talk with our team at the MHA, we really try our best to make sure that's part of our culture. And that's true whether we're working with our hospital and health system members, whether we're working with our business partners, with elected officials, the media. At the end of the day, we hope that they view us as friends and allies where that's possible. And, we go out of our way to talk about the MHA family. And that's not a throwaway line.
No.
We really do work.
Well, I have to imagine my anecdotal hypothesis would be, it might be redundant, but that your retention is really strong there.
Yeah.
It seems like you have
We have
to
a great team.
push people out, like eventually, like you can be done working here now, like
Right.
because people love the culture.
Well, you're right. We do have a very strong culture that's resulted in longevity among our staff. Coming out of the pandemic, we were recognized by Modern Healthcare, which is the publication of record in the healthcare space in the United States, but we were recognized as one of the 100 best places to work in America in healthcare. So the recognition's been there. And, I think the results speak for themselves over, many, many years, that this approach, this culture we've created works.
Yeah, your effectiveness is never in question. And again, you might seem like the guy who's very serious in terms of setting the tone of the culture, but you're actually like, you just have to scratch somebody ear a little bit, and you're a very human-centered type of leader.
Well, we talk about work hard, play hard.
Yes.
Right? And, the work hard part is obvious. The play hard part is really a couple things. One, it's making sure people are taking the time away from their job to go have fun with their family, their loved ones, their friends, and do all of that away from work. That is, for sure. But the second part is play hard as colleagues as well.
Yeah.
So we try to do as much as possible on the job, so to speak, on the business clock, where we're having fun together. We're making memories together, and that takes a lot of different forms. But it's just part of our culture that I really am proud of.
Yeah. You've talked about how you can overlay really values to different, whether it's on a boat or running this. But when you were in ninth grade, what did you think you wanted to be? What did you think you were going to do?
Well, when I was in ninth grade, I was at that point in my first year as a first mate.
Okay. So you thought boating is life?
So I'm thinking that's the career for me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that would be what I would be doing today if not for the fact that one of my customers on my charter boat was my predecessor. Spence Johnson was the CEO of the MHA for 30 years by the time he retired. And every summer he came out with his sons on my charter boat.
Is that where
fishing.
you met him?
That was the first time I had met him and spent any time with him.
Wow.
And so by the time that I was about to graduate from undergrad from Michigan State University in the College of Business, he offered me an internship at the association. Long story short, I said yes. What's the downside? And we'll see how this is. I fell in love with it, obviously, and here I am all these years later. But he encouraged me that, hey, if you want to stay at the association, you should go back to grad school, get a master's degree in health services administration. It just so happened that the number one program in the country was just down the road in Ann Arbor, University of Michigan. So, I went through that program, and he was a great mentor, a great friend. May he rest in peace. I wouldn't be here without his giving me that opportunity as an intern, but coaching me along the way, giving me opportunities throughout my career. So, we all have to rely on someone in our life that takes an interest and helps us. And hopefully it's more than one. I always encourage people, just like it's okay to have more than one friend, it's okay to have more than one mentor. In fact, you should seek out those mentors.
That's good advice.
Yeah, it's very good advice.
You, as far as jobs that don't involve fish or the state capitol, which we know that your job is much bigger than the state capitol. But did you say you were pick cherries or something?
I did. It was actually concurrent with my job as a first mate. When we had days where the weather was bad and you couldn't get out on the water, or we just didn't have a charter that day, there was a cherry orchard right nearby where our summer home was in Charlevoix. And it was one of those cherry orchards where they were desperate for help during the season. And so you could just drop in at any point in time. And they paid you by the bucket.
They didn't pay you in cherries.
They didn't pay you in cherries, although there's nothing stopping you from just, plucking one off the tree, putting it in the bucket.
You're like, I'm done, and he's all red.
Yeah, I would tell you, I have a lot of respect for agricultural workers. I'm not kidding, after that experience, because you work all day outside in blazing hot conditions sometimes, and you're just exhausted, physically exhausted, and you don't make a lot of money. You just don't.
Absolutely.
So a lot of respect there. But that was one of my jobs. My sister and I were actually newspaper delivery people. Going way back.
Which news outlet?
This was the Ann Arbor News.
Okay.
When we lived in Ann Arbor, we were in grade school, but we delivered in our neighborhood. This is back when Ann Arbor News was a daily morning newspaper, long, long ago. But that was a great experience for us because it taught us discipline and structure, getting out of bed in the morning when it's still completely dark outside, and making our rounds.
No.
before
You
school.
have had you have had a wide range of jobs for sure. Gosh, I feel like I want to keep talking about jobs, but I know we want to focus on like the fun things.
Yeah.
So maybe I got to ask you about travel. Before we got started, we were talking about I have an upcoming trip for work to New Orleans, and you gave me some great recommendations on some restaurants to try. So maybe I need to ask, outside of being in Michigan and being on a boat, where's your favorite place to go?
No question, it's Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Naples is where we plan to retire. No question, we'll spend part of the year in Michigan for sure, but certainly the winter months will be the classic snowbirds. But down in Naples, Key West, Isla Morada. These are some of the places that my father and I have been for many, many years on our father-son fishing trips. And now I'm taking, my son. But any chance I can possibly get to be on the water. I love fishing of all sorts, and I certainly love fishing here in Michigan, freshwater, but the ultimate to me is offshore in the ocean. And
what's some of the weirdest stuff you've ever pulled up? Like, that is so intriguing to me that, what is that? I don't know. Or, you get blowfish or this or that. Right. Like, you gotten some like eel stuff? What is some creepy?
Well, that's what I love about the ocean is that the diversity is just off the charts. You can go out and spend a day and not know, what you might catch and bring on board, but also what you're going to see. You could be, 60 miles offshore fishing the Gulf Stream out of Miami, for example, and all of a sudden, right next to the boat, a sea turtle will come to the surface, and the shell is the size of, a car hood. Yeah. And it just out of the blue, or a pod of orcas will swim by.
Well, sometimes you see things, and then other things are there because of that, right? Like
that's right.
You're doing a certain type of fishing, and then the dolphins are coming for those fish. And then you've got, when we were whale watching, the sea lions, they like to hang around. I don't know exactly ecologically why. I probably learned at some point, but
right.
These creatures often come in little clusters.
It's a great point. And in fact, when I was fishing in Alaska, the giant schools of king salmon that start to cluster up around the river mouths, there are two predators that target those massive salmon schools. And this is so very different from the salmon fishing I was accustomed to doing here in Michigan, where, the salmon schools cluster up at the river mouths, same way. But in Michigan, you don't have salmon sharks, which is a species of shark, salmon shark, and you don't have orcas, which we all know about, schooling up to go after the salmon. Right. And in fact, we went fishing when I was in Alaska for salmon shark. And these are over 1,000 pounds.
I was going to say, are they bigger sharks?
These are, they get up to 10, 12 feet long, well over 1,000 pounds. Catch them on big game tackle.
And what about birds? When the salmon come through? I mean, do you get some of the big birds?
Oh, absolutely. Well? You sure do. So to your point, it's nature at its finest. You see all those parts of the food chain right there in front of your eyes. And it's just, it's mesmerizing.
It's amazing.
I mean,
I would never get off the water if I could. It's just.
Well, it's why it just captivates me. And why I want to be on the water every possible chance I get. It's tough being here in Lansing.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, I've seen you, and first of all, you're not only a captain, aren't you 100-ton certified at this point?
I am, yes.
He could drive a yacht. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, the captain that I worked for when I was a first mate, we actually were in the yacht delivery business. He was, and so I was his first mate on quite a few yacht deliveries.
Wow.
Mainly in the Great Lakes. And then I stayed in that business. Didn't do a lot of it, but once I got my captain's license and was running charters, every so often there would be a delivery that would need to be made from a marina, in the northern Michigan area to some port somewhere else. And that's a fun job, to say the least. You get to experience some pretty neat boats.
And I've seen you. I was privileged enough to receive an invite with you and some of your MHA staff, and I think you had a couple of members on the boat. But you are locked in. You've got the gear. nothing but you're smiling. I'm like, this is a man who's doing his passion right
Oh,
now.
that's fun. I mean, I'm not a golfer, so
Yeah.
during the season,
Gotta have some way to blow money.
well, there are a lot of my colleagues who are taking lawmakers, elected officials, out on a golf course for golf outing, which is a time-tested way to develop relationships and conduct business in some cases. And since I'm not a golfer, I've done the same thing, but on the boat. And we've had so many of our MHA members over the years, so many of our elected officials at the state and federal level, by the way, who've been out on the boat with me and, just help to build those relationships. But it's where I'm happiest, there's no doubt.
So you can find Brian in Charlevoix, in Florida, D.C.
I love D.C. and I love Chicago. You're asking about, favorite places to go. And I feel like D.C. and Chicago are perhaps second and third homes to me because the American Hospital Association has a major presence in both cities. DC, for obvious reasons, that's the home of their advocacy team. But Chicago is actually where the majority of their staff is still located. And we have a lot of healthcare related conferences and events in Chicago. It's only a short 3.5 hour drive from Lansing. And so, we spend a lot of time there, and I've gotten to know both cities well, and that familiarity, I think you start to know what you like and which restaurants you prefer and all that. So
what are the best restaurants in DC? You've probably been a lot more than I have to DC. I really don't go
I
almost
feel
ever.
like I've been pretty often. Now I can't think of. Pretty recently I was there, and I went to this seafood restaurant, which I'm allergic to fish, so it's odd that I find myself at seafood restaurants. And I can't think of the name of it, not at all, but it was great. It was a great experience. No, what's your favorite?
Well, Fiola Mare is my favorite, right on the Potomac River. It's a seafood restaurant, but it's just phenomenal. Great fresh seafood and Michelin-starred service. It's really a wonderful restaurant. But there's so many. And Chicago, of course, is one of the great restaurant destinations in the world. My daughter is a real foodie. She's 19 years old now, but since she was just a little kid, she has enjoyed going out to fancy restaurants and now cooking.
What is she?
food.
I've got a child that you might call a foodie, but there might be another word for it. But does she like oysters and seafood? What makes her a foodie? What does she appreciate about it?
She'll eat anything.
Okay, well,
she's
that's great.
Not shy about trying new things, but she likes getting dressed up and having food that she hasn't tried before. The service, the ambiance, the whole nine yards. And
that's what I like.
Yeah, and she realizes that, and my son, who's just now graduating from Michigan State as well, and we're really proud of him. We've taught both of them to appreciate what they have, and they do. And I think they understand how blessed they've been to have those opportunities because not everyone does. And it's part of why the MHA for so many years has supported food as medicine and supported the Michigan Harvest Gathering to make sure that every Michigander, no matter what their socioeconomic status, has the food that they need. I mean, it's part of
and it's rightly so. We're starting to right size the role that food in the 90s kids. It was like if it's edible, it must be acceptable, and that's just now we're like no, we've like destroyed like hormonal reactions and other things in the body from like these cycles of food that was like never really supposed to be food. It's not really food. I do have to say for a moment, I my poor son, he's never going to watch this. He won't even read a text from me, so he's not going to watch this. But he's 17. He lived in Japan for the year. He just got back. He is obsessed with and he'll read like medical journals and like real things, but he's like the functional medicine, Whole Foods kind of. Borders a little, dabbles in the manosphere a little more than I'd like, the Joe Rogan space. But this guy, so the minute we got back, he had to get a membership to this raw milk farm in Eaton Rapids. So we drive 35 miles for milk.
Wow.
Because in Michigan, it's illegal. Big farming probably at some point made it so you couldn't get. So you have to rent the cow. It's like a shareholder of a cow or something. So I'm a shareholder of some cows. And I thought this would blow over. I'm sitting in Florida this weekend, and these debit cards, my kids, they're all attached. I can see everything on them. They kind of get loaded up with their allowance or whatever. This is the third time this has happened. I'm sitting there, $42 to Happy Cow, whatever. I'm like, texting him, and he's like, Mom, they just got in colostrum. They never have colostrum. And the other time, $28. It was cream. Well, haven't had cream. So the majority of his spending money and some of mine goes for raw milk products. Mm-hmm. And in Japan, this MFer was eating anything raw because also he's learned that his testosterone and all this hormonal development, he wants to max, it looks maxine, whatever right. Maxine, he wants to maximize it by eating things raw. Mm-hmm. So we go to the Tokyo fish markets, mm-hmm. and he's buying not just the oysters and oysters that are this big and all kinds of weird fish, but he's eating liver raw, mm-hmm. beef always raw, which they do eat a lot of raw beef over there. He had horse meat sushi.
Oh, okay.
Raw.
That's different.
And he sits there and it's lunchtime and he has 3 oysters and a piece of liver raw. Mm-hmm. Why? Because he's hardcore, and we're going to max out his potential, right? But
he's trying to do the right thing.
That's the kind of foodie I have at my house. It's just like nightmare stuff.
It's a little different.
It's a little
but his heart's in the
different.
right place.
But he does know quality.
Right.
We only do grass-fed. He made his own butter last week. Left it on the dog ate right off the counter, but he made his own butter. We were making our own butter at home now. So
well, that's impressive.
It's something.
We're not to that point.
It's something. We've talked to therapists about some of it, but it's largely good. We have this one question of a place that you've been that you were forced to go. Mm-hmm. It could be anything from like Tulsa for a conference or like Dollywood because your wife wanted to go or something. Mm-hmm. A place that you were forced to go that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to tell people how great this place is. Mm-hmm. Anything like that. International, local. You could say St. John. So a place that you were like not excited to go, but you're like,
wasn't excited
I'm
initially,
pretty impressed with my experience.
But it turns out it was pretty amazing. It's a great question. I would say one of the benefits of the job that I've had for some time is that I've been able to travel a lot and see a lot of places that I wouldn't otherwise have had the opportunity to see. And that's partly because of the conferences and events that are held for healthcare leaders across the country, yep. and those rotate mm-hmm. to different places. And, yep. Also the American Hospital Association, I've been very involved over my career with AHA, and I'm blessed right now to serve on their board of trustees. Yep. And so, the committee assignments, you get to travel an awful lot. So it's a great question. I would say San Antonio.
There's a boardwalk, right? Or a river walk or something?
There is the Riverwalk, which is famous and well known, and the Alamo and all that. But there's actually the hill country outside of San Antonio, okay. which is actually where this particular conference was held. And I had never been there. This was several years ago. And it was just really captivating to me.
Was it actual hills? Because Texas is pretty flat.
It's pretty flat. They call it hill country because there are some hills, nothing significant. But it was the climate, mm-hmm. Just the way the environment looked, the smells, mm-hmm. The food there. It was just remarkable. And it's a place that, I guess my test would be, would you go back to this place on your own
mm-hmm.
dime?
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for business, would you go back?
Yeah.
And 100% I would go back there. The other is Maine.
Okay.
Samoset, Maine. Samoset is a resort in northern Maine, right on the ocean. And that was a place that it wasn't on my radar screen at all. I'd never heard of it. I hadn't thought about it. And we were there and got to do some whale watching, got to do some offshore fishing as well. This was, again, years ago. And I'm going to make a point of getting back there as well because it was really a special place. And, again, I feel blessed that I had that opportunity.
A lot of opportunity.
I understand a lot of people don't or haven't had that opportunity. opportunity to travel and see different places. So,
But that's good. 2 new ones for us to think about.
Yeah.
That's partially why we were asking, right? We're
Yeah.
give us some.
I love traveling. So anytime people make a recommendation like, okay, let's see if I can get there, even if it's by mistake. So,
Or if you have an opportunity, like something's happening there, and you're like, you know,
Let me add a
I've
day.
heard
Yeah.
things. I'm gonna go. I know you keep a tight schedule. Can we ask a couple more lightning round,
absolutely.
60-second questions? You want
You
to go
bet.
first? Yeah.
Sure. Let me see. We talked about TV. What are you listening to right now, music wise? Or audiobook is fine too.
Book
Well,
on tape, as Chad Lyman
So,
calls
you know what's interesting? I read a lot.
Oh.
I read a lot. And part of the reason for that is I have the opportunity because I'm in airports and on planes often enough that it lends itself to reading. And, you know, in my spare time, if I have any of that, I enjoy reading. But I always enjoy reading nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something I've been attracted to for my entire life. But what I listen to is not books on tape. So when I'm driving, I know a lot of people listen to books on tape. I've never gotten into that. I like to read the actual
You
book
want to
in
see the
front of me.
words? You like the smell of
So-
a book? You buy the physical book?
Exactly.
Okay.
Old school. My
Yeah.
daughter calls me Fred Flintstone.
No Kindle,
so-
right?
No Kindle.
No, you
Nope,
gotta be
nope.
page flipping.
But when I drive, I'm listening to one of 3 things,
Mm-hmm.
right? One is Howard Stern.
Okay.
Okay. The second is music, my music.
Mhm.
I don't have any, radio stations or XM channels that I enjoy. It's my music, and that's a very diverse portfolio. And then the third, and probably the thing that I listen to more often than anything else when I'm in my car, is silence.
Oh,
Really?
Because I learned, and I can't take credit for this, I was taught by one of my mentors some time ago that if you think about this, and he was right, when do you ever have true silence for an extended period of time when you're not, fast asleep in your bed at night, right?
Never.
Silence to think about the issues that you're confronting, in your personal life, in your work life. That's the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, sometimes you're on the road and you have to make phone calls and return calls, and I do that. But to the extent that you can avoid it, turn off the stereo. I like to listen to silence more than anything else. And that's what I think.
Okay.
In 60 seconds, what is one specific thing that worries you about healthcare in this country that the average person might understand?
So right now, the conversation is about affordability, which I get, and we're part of that conversation. And the cost of healthcare has skyrocketed in the last several years, really coming out of COVID. The cost has accelerated, largely because the cost of labor in the healthcare space in particular has accelerated, the cost of prescription drugs, the cost of technology. Hospitals are price aggregators, meaning we reflect the end result of all these input costs that are exploding that we have little or no control over. That's what people don't often realize when they think about healthcare and the economics of healthcare. And the other thing that you don't tend to think about if you're not from that world is the fact that we are unique in that we are open 24/7, 365 to everyone, regardless of their ability to pay. And that's not an obligation, I like to say, that is a mission. It's a commitment that all of our members have. So the concern, to answer your question, is will I have access to healthcare that I need, whether it's coming out of an unexpected car accident and trauma, whether it's delivering a baby in my local community and getting all the pre and postnatal care. Is it the cancer care that I'm going to need down the road at some point, caring for my heart disease? I think there is a real risk in this country that we're going to see hospital service line closures and then outright hospital closures. And that's not unique to Michigan. That's happening all over the United States. And I think in our lifetime, certainly over the course of the next 10 years, that's going to become real. And it's why this conversation around affordability, I think, is the right conversation to have, We just have to be honest
Right.
as we're having the conversation and talk about the real issues.
That there's no scenario where if your family member falls and is in crisis, or I'm in labor, or whoever, like that we don't want like that's the
Well,
it's like the base
that's right.
package of quality of life that we want in this country.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and not to be flip about it at all, because I'm deadly serious about my job and the work that we do, and I think you know that. But I often say, if you can imagine, and it's horrible to imagine, but imagine that it's your loved one, the person you love more than anyone else in this world, and you get a phone call that says this person, the person you love more than anyone else in the world, is in an ambulance on their way to the hospital. Their life is on the line. They may not make it. I'll tell you what, make you a deal. I'll give you 1950s healthcare, technology, drugs, all the rest, in exchange for 1950s pricing. Do you take the deal?
No.
Do
The
not
answer
take
is
the deal.
no. I've never met anyone in my life, nor will I, that's going to say yes. And so, again, understand that the miracles of modern medicine
Yeah.
and the access to care that we all enjoy every single day comes at a price.
And by the way, when it comes to loved ones, we don't even want 2024 levels of. We want the best that we have
Correct.
now.
Healthcare
Today, for the
is
person I love.
healthcare costs way too much until it's my healthcare,
Yeah.
my life on the
Yeah.
line, and then
Yeah.
money's no object.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the reality of American healthcare.
Yeah. I know you've got to wrap up. I want to quick throw out two quotes that you've given me that circle around in my head in important moments or not so. One, I think, is a Winston Churchill quote. If you're going through hell, keep going.
Keep
Keep going.
Keep going. I love that we all know that. It's one of my favorites. And the other is, if food is really good, it doesn't need to be oversalted.
True.
I'll repeat that a lot now. Like, you and I had dinner or lunch somewhere one time, and we were like, "Is this good?" I'm like, "I think it's pretty." And you're like, "It's too salty because it's not good enough."
Yeah.
Good food doesn't need too much salt.
That's right. And, while salt has some benefit,
Yeah.
oversalting
Oversalt is the sign
it's a
of-
problem.
There's
It's a
too
sign
much
of-
of there's sometimes too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
That's right.
My takeaway from this is you and I both agree that in TMZ we trust when there is breaking news about a
100%.
celebrity. Like, I remember when Paul Walker died, I was on the phone with one of my best friends and I was like, "Is this real?" And she was like, "I'm checking TMZ. It's not on TMZ. It's not real." And then 5 minutes later, it was on TMZ.
Yeah, why? Because they want to get it
And-
right. They wanted to vet that.
That's right.
Make
and
sure.
we were like, "It must be real. It's on TMZ." So in
There you have
TMZ
it.
we trust.
Well, now they are likely to supplant some of the other major news outlets in D.C. When
We
it
can
comes
only
to this.
hope. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Brian.
much. This has
One
been
of my
really
favorite
cool.
people. It's
This has
amazing.
been fun. I appreciate
Word
it.
on the street is I make it look easy,
Anytime.
too easy.